Step right up, folks. Gather around. It is snippet time. Hello, gals, and welcome to Sober Living Snippets, where we live alcohol free so we can heal those relationships, feel juicy again, and ditch regret and shame. Gals, I'm here today to tell you that you are going through a phase. You're going through a phase and you didn't even know it. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you've been stuck in the same place forever and always will be, which is how we often feel, I want you to know it's just a phase. Do you remember saying that to your kids? Oh, you're just going through a phase. It's growing pains. Well, guess what? This never ends. And that's good news for us. But before I get really carried away, let me back up and say, hello, I'm Becca Jacobson, and welcome to Snippet Land, especially if you're new. I'm so glad you found us because Snippet Land really is a special place full of special, special women. And I don't mean me, I mean you. Okay, let's talk about phases. Did you know that there are 3 phases that at any given time in our lives we are going through? And I'm talking about our adult lives. If we're unaware of these and we're just floating along, then we're in trouble. We're not living. So let me tell you about these 3 phases so we can talk through them and we can make sure you're not only aware, but you're doing something about it. So these 3 phases are transition, stagnation, or growth. Okay? Transition, stagnation, or growth. Now, you've heard me say here before many, many times that if we're not growing, we're going backwards. If we're not growing, we're basically dying. That there is no such thing as standing still. And this is more on that idea. If we think we can just land in the comfort zone and stay there, we are sadly mistaken. We're kidding ourselves. We are in big, big trouble because the comfort zone is called stagnation. Okay, so we're going to look at these 3 phases. We're going to do stagnation first. If you've reached a point in your life where you think you've just, look, I've got to this point, I've got the grandkids, I've got this, I've got that, maybe I'm retired or I'm comfortable in my career. Even being comfortable in your career is a problem. This is all stagnation. If you're not moving forward or in some way transitioning to a new place, you are stagnating, my dear. Now, where does alcohol fit into this? Alcohol keeps us in the stagnation phase. And I'm going to wrap up this snippet by coming back to stagnation and talking about alcohol. But first, I want to go through these 3 stages, okay? So let's think of stagnation as the same as the comfort zone. You've got a routine, you're living your routine, and you've been stuck in this routine forever. You know you probably should change a few things, one of them probably alcohol. Maybe your diet's not great, you probably need more exercise, whatever it is that's going in the back of your mind that I should be doing, but you're not, means you're stagnating. Or you've only got a few little things nagging the back of your mind, but you're pretty comfortable, you're stagnating. All of it is stagnation if you're not actually doing something about it. Now, one of the things that alcohol does is keeps us stuck there. As I said, I'll get to that in a minute. The second phase I want to talk about, on the other end of the scale from stagnation, is growth. So we've taken steps, we've made a plan, we've chosen a path, and we are growing. And we know the direction we're growing, and we know where we're growing towards because we have goals, we have a vision of the future. Hopefully we've got something like a time capsule. We are connected to our future selves. We have a plan and we're growing. Now the middle phase is transition, and it's a perfectly good place to be. Transition is the area between stagnation and growth. Okay? So if we recognize we're in stagnation and we go, oh my God, I cannot stay here. This is totally unhealthy and going to lead me to an early grave and a very unhappy old age. So then we decide we need to grow. Well, there's a transition phase. And during this transition phase, we're seeking the path. We're trying to decide, well, in which direction do I want to grow, and how do I grow, and what do I take care of first, and where are the areas I want to grow in, and how do I do it, and who's going to help me, and what's the path? So this is all transition. It's deciding the direction we're going to go and choosing the route. Transition's great. It's actually an exciting phase to be in, a little bit uncomfortable in terms of we are stepping outside our comfort zone here, because often we're giving up things like alcohol that are keeping us stuck in our rut. Stagnation, rut, same word, right? But it's also fun. I mean, it's not a boring stage. But if we're aware that we're in transition, then we don't have to worry about the volatility of our lives. If you're like, why is my life so bizarre right now? Because you're in transition. You're growing. Like, for example, when women come into my program and I get them to face their lives, that's what they do in the very beginning, is we say, well, let's have a look at your life today. What's it look like today? Where has alcohol brought you to? What do you want to change? We look at all areas of life. Then they make a decision on what they're going to change, and then they make a plan for that change. Well, this creates transition and volatility and a little bit of nervousness, but we're courageous enough to do it. And of course, the first step is we realize we've got to stop drinking so we can make these changes. Now, this all sounds pretty insane. You're probably going, wow, I don't even know how the hell to do that. Well, of course you don't. That's why I'm here and why you don't do it alone. But this transition stage really can be very exciting and fun if you're aware you're in a stage. You see, the problem comes when we don't even notice we're in a stage. We just think, what the hell's wrong with my life? That's all we know, is just there's something wrong. I'm uncomfortable. I'm unhappy. Nothing's working. And we don't recognize that we're either stagnating. There's nothing wrong with recognizing you're stagnating, because the minute you recognize it, you're moving towards transition. So on the one side of the scale, we have stagnation or rut or comfort zone, whatever you want to call it. On the far other side of the scale, we have growth. And in the middle, we've got transition. My dear, being in transition or growth are amazing. If you're in stagnation, in a rut, I'm here today to say to you, get the hell out of there. Get the hell out of there. And I want to tell you something about alcohol. We can feel like we're growing, but still be in a rut. So let me give you an example of this. I drank away my late teens, all of my 20s. Well, I drank away all the way till my 50s, but in my 20s, right up to my early 30s, was really bad. Drinking all the time because of my lifestyle. You may recall I was a prostitute. Fair enough, where there was a lot of alcohol. And then I decided I needed to make a change. And so I went to college. Now, you would think that going from being a prostitute to going to college and giving up that lifestyle would put me into growth mode, or at least transition. But the truth is, in my personal life, in my personal growth, I was still stagnated. I stagnated through my undergrad years. I was stagnated in grad school. And then I began my career and it was still stagnated. Why? Because I couldn't stop drinking. So this was not true growth. It was not true evolution. Sure, I got an education and a career, but I was stagnated personally. And so when I say to you, are you growing? I don't mean, are you learning a hobby or are you doing this? I mean, are you stuck in a cycle of drinking that's got you stagnating because you can't free yourself from the bottle? So I hope that this makes sense. So we've got on the one side of the scale, stagnation, rut, comfort zone. That is drinking in our world, in snippet land, right? If we have a problem with alcohol, that's where we land. We're in stagnation, regardless of what's going on in our lives. When we put down the bottle, we automatically move into transition. Automatically. You're automatically transitioning from stagnation into growth. And it's going to be a little uncomfortable. But if we look at it as a stage, as a transitional stage, and we look at it as kind of exciting, what's next for me? I thought I thought there was nothing left of excitement for me because I'm 65 or I'm 55. And I kind of thought all that fun, growing, kind of learning new stuff was over. Don't we just do that in our No, we don't just do that in our younger years. We keep doing this till the day we die. Otherwise, what the hell is the point of life? So if you're in transition and it feels a little volatile and a little bit uncertain, good. Be happy about it. Celebrate that. I'm happy for you. And this is what women have the courage to do when they join my program. They move from one stage, i.e. stagnation, into transition, and they're not alone during that transition. They recognize that they're transitioning, and by the end of it, they're in full-on growth mode, and they keep growing. And none of it is done alone. None of it is done unconsciously. We do this consciously. We say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to consciously move from one place to another and change my life. And I don't even have to know how to do it because I have the help I need. Because the women who really want this know they need help. If you're in snippet land, you know that, and you'll hear it everywhere. So I'm not even going to try and convince you of that anymore. That's a given. At this stage of the game, if there's one thing we know, it's that we cannot do this alone. And so just forget about that. Your day will come when you'll reach out for help, and this is what you can expect to happen. And all I can say is that is freaking exciting. Why wouldn't that be exciting? There's no such thing. Remember, in snippet land, there's no such thing as retirement or old age or comfortably floating into the grave. We're here to live our lives, live these lives. And why shouldn't we? They've been given to us. There was no rule at birth that said when you hit a certain age, it's kind of over. So just sort of comfortably, be quiet and mind your own business till you get to the end. Screw that. That's not what we're here for. We were here to learn certain lessons. And I'll tell you this much, if you had learned them by now, if you were done learning everything you were here to learn, you would be in the grave. The reason you're still breathing, the reason I'm still breathing, the reason we're still here is because we have more to learn. So which stage are you in, my dear? I already answered it for you. If you're still drinking or on and off drinking or trying to moderate and trying to do it alone, you are in stagnation. There's no way to argue otherwise. But super easy to get out of stagnation. Very easy. All you need to do is get help. And I'll tell you, my program is set up to move you from one stage to the next stage to the next stage methodically with full support so that even though it's exciting because new stuff is happening, you're not confused and you're not alone and you're not wondering what to do next. So let's be honest, gals. How many times have you told yourself, I'll cut back, only to find yourself pouring another glass? How many times have you woken up with regret, promising yourself it was the last time? The truth is, nothing changes until you decide it's time to get out of your comfort zone, your rut, your stagnation. If any of this hits home and you're tired of feeling stuck in this cycle, it is time we spoke. I offer free one-on-one calls where you can share your story with me, and together we'll create a personalized plan to finally break free. And because I know that taking this step is difficult, I offer every woman who shows up at her call a $200 restaurant certificate. You'll soon be enjoying a night out on me, completely in control, fully present, without regret. But of course, I have a limited number of certificates as well as one-on-one calls I can take each month. So open up whatever app you're streaming this show on, go to the notes of this episode and click the first link that says book your call with Becca. That's going to take you to my personal calendar where you can pick a time that works before they're all gone. This will be the decision that changes everything and moves you, my dear, from that rut, from wasting your precious time, the one thing you cannot get more of, from there to transition and then to growth. And it is one hell of an exciting journey. Thanks for being here, gals, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.